Good gaming champions. Welcome back to another podcast with Champions of Tabletop. I am Matt, joined as always by Dion and Shay. Gentlemen, it is good to be back. How are you all doing today?
Good, doing great.
I am doing good, Matthew.
As you'll I have a feeling that had a voice to it.
No, it does.
We'll get to it in a little bit. We're going to do a quick channel update here in a minute. But before we get into that, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments on our channel. It means the world to us. It helps the algorithm and make sure that we know what you're looking for in content we're providing. So we love your input as the viewers of this podcast. So with that said, first we got to say thank you to our channel sponsor for this month, Draco Studios. Of course, Draco is famous for dodos, riding, dinos, the Mario Kart of the board game world. And then, of course, games like War for Chicken Island and Sea Dragons. They're sponsoring us this month. Yep. So thank you to Draco Studios. And, of course, Voss Media Board Game Cafe, who tonight is hosting the Lorcana Store Championships.
You might hear people walk by and say something in the distance. So
you could hear tears of sadness,
people screaming that they've lost, or they've opened an amazing pack that they just are freaking out about.
Just heard that way. You hear a big woo, that happened.
They got a good chant. And we have to react.
We have to. I will react.
It's got that woo woo.
It's that woo, and then the Ric Flair on. Anyway,
that's right. Or just a fight breakout because people disagree on the rules.
Then I will have to leave for a minute, but we're good.
So with that, just disregard any background noise you hear. It's live studio. That's what we get.
Whoop, whoop.
Nobody's watching us or cares what we have to say. But
you gotta stop saying that. You got people care about us.
There's like 40 maybe.
Algorithm shows we'd love to hear more from you.
So that means the AI don't like us. That's real people do.
Yeah, that's because we made fun of it in the beginning. That's what we did.
So with that, again, Draco Studios, thank you for the partnership this month.
Yes, Draco.
And let's move on to some channel updates, just to fill you in on what's going on with the Champions of Tabletop. So to go through a couple things that we have, we're very excited. Of course, we're going to talk about the new old format. One of the feedback we got was that people kind of missed the personalities that we had as we communicated together and had more of that just buddies hanging around the table talking about board games. So we decided to kind of go back a little bit more to our podcast. We're going to be doing those a few times a month to make sure that we provide that kind of content, just to enjoy hanging out together. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of these podcasts. We're going to try to do a few every month to make sure that we fit that itch for the people who are looking for it. The next thing is, do you have any comments on that?
Of what?
Of
going
you were
back
excited to go back to the podcast.
Oh yeah. I didn't like the small individual pickets of like, this is the news, and we hurry up and did it. And I didn't like the breakdown. I like it just flows and we flow and bust it out, get it done. And I did hear some comments from my viewers that have come to the store that was like, oh, I kind of like listening to it all, and I've got to kind of hunt it down on what I'm looking for and when I'm looking for it. So me as a big fan, I wasn't for it, but I also understand we have to change and adapt. And so I'm open for anything that will help us get better as we move forward. So I'm happy we're back to the podcast. We're only going to do a couple of months now because we have added some other things, which I think you're going to get into talk about. But I like just getting back to where we originated from. So,
and I think what I like is, one, I do like that we tried it. Like, I think that it was a great idea. I think we just didn't have enough of the, we need our main stuff first.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think those shorter videos can happen, but it just can't happen right now. I think that what we have in store is actually going to be preem, and I can't wait for you to say everything, Matt. But absolutely. I think that's what's going to be what I like the new. I like the new.
Let's be honest, too. It is a very crowded space in the industry for a very niche market.
I agree.
People. So we want to do our own thing and stand out a little bit from the crowd. And so this is our chance to do something a little bit different than everybody else who kind of does a lot of the same stuff, reviews and kind of some standard stuff. And so this is our uniqueness. So with that said, so we're going to go back and definitely be providing those podcasts several times every month. And of course, if you want to see more of those, as I said earlier, like, subscribe, and hopefully down the road we'll be able to monetize the channel, which will help us be able to do more of these kind of podcasts. The second thing I want to bring up to you guys, as you both were here and we're part of it, we have started a new series called On the Table. In fact, that probably will air before this episode does. So if you haven't seen it, please go back and check it out. On the Table is our series where it's just going to be us. You know, we keep talking about Champions Never Stop Playing. We keep talking about getting games to the table. We never played in the almost 7 months we've been doing this podcast together. We'd never played a game together. So we're starting a new series where a few times every month we're going to release videos of us just hanging out, playing some games, and of course letting you open the comments up to share your feelings on the way Dion has probably messed us over and cheated us without us knowing.
I mean,
that's legit.
To be fair, the first 2 games we both know. So it was no cheating.
I did not know at all for the record.
Well, and that's, I think the fun part about that is getting it to the table and being able to introduce each other to some of the games that we like to play, or at least we know about. And with 1,540 games in my store that you can pop right off the shelf and play, I'm sure we can find ways to enjoy that and give that to our viewers to where they can learn a little bit about the game, see if it's something that they would like to go purchase from their friendly local game store, and also something that kind of makes us stand out a bit. I know a lot of people do those, but I think it's best, again, to go back to what I said originally. I think it's a good direction.
Yeah, and our first one was Coffee Rush that we did. Obviously a hot now game, and I'd never played before, but I was able to share a lot of very fascinating stories on the history of coffee. So if you want to learn more about the history of coffee and why Pope Clement the Fourth is the reason why we even have coffee in the Western culture today, definitely check it out.
It was
just move on.
It was such
Why
a
do you guys
vibe.
hate to learn so much?
God. You keep saying we, like I wasn't like hyping that up.
You were liking it. That's right. Dion
No, I hated it with a passion.
But I loved it because it was miserable.
It was so great.
So we had a lot of fun with that. Hope you enjoy that as well. So look for a lot of those coming up as we just kind of have fun together. And the next one I'm really excited about. This is something that we've been working on for the last 6 months as we started this channel. We had come up with a logo and an image for the channel, just as something to have out there without really anything. And so working with a local company, Kevin Holmes, Holmes Design, I think is the name of his business. I want to give him a shout out. He came up with an absolutely stunning logo for us. I am so excited.
I do like it. I'm a fan.
I like it. I you know how I feel about it.
Oh. Shay was at my office when I just happened to get it, and I looked at it and I almost fell out of my chair because it was absolutely stunning.
It was.
For the last 6 or 7 months, us trying to find a logo that we were happy with has been very difficult.
Yeah.
More difficult than I thought it would be. And for us to see one that goes, oh, that looks pretty good, was really nice to have. So he did a great job. Appreciate his work on that.
Absolutely.
And I do want to give a shout out to the bum who made our first logo.
Oh, no, he wasn't a bum.
I think he tried his best.
He did
to do what he knew.
And I mean, listen,
it was Shay, if you don't know.
We had stick figures.
He guilted you into knowing who made it.
Yeah.
See, they even laughing. They know how bad it was.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Only fans of Tabletop.
You did.
Well, the OF in the middle.
The only fans. Yeah.
That was just nowhere near as pretty as.
No. But great views. This is a kid show.
Kid show. But anyways, so actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. We will announce it and show it here if you haven't already seen it. So Shay, if you could put it on the screen right now for everybody to see. Take a look at it. We're so proud of this. The new logo for Champions of
Look
Tabletop.
at that. That's the logo that's going to be right there.
So, the one thing I love what the thing I love what Kevin did with this is he of course put the C in there, but he also kind of put it in the shape of a four-sided die with 4 members of Champion of Tabletop. So incorporated a little bit of the culture of the show and who we are as a team. So again, he did a phenomenal job. So we are going to have some merchandise that we'll have available soon. Probably next podcast, I think we'll be wearing some shirts to highlight some of those things. So we'll get a
I need a new shirt.
You do. That looks good, though.
I'm not gonna lie to you because you know how I'm team no sleeves. I may or may not be cutting off the sleeves in the shirt.
Oh wow!
I may or may not.
Ruin it already.
Just keep going.
So yeah, we're gonna have some shirts, baseball hats, things like that. We're really excited about it. So give us your thoughts. If you like the logo, put some down below and let us know what you think. Last thing for channel update, Origins.
Yes,
we're now big kids.
Big kids. What's that mean?
Big kids now. We get to go to Origin as media.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that makes us big kids, but sure.
Make us big kids. I mean, make y'all big kids. I ain't going, but y'all, but it do make us big kids. I'm so excited.
We're big time now.
And as long as everything goes great with my business, which I hope it does, I will be there as well. So at least it will be me and you walking around sporting our new shirts.
Oh, I will definitely
sporting our logo.
That's right. And we're gonna have some giveaways potentially.
Yeah.
Asterisks.
Asterisks.
For Origin.
Asterisks.
So if you see us, come up to us and say hello and shake our hand, and we'll maybe give you a little. Well, I was say a little surprise, but that's,
no little surprises.
Going the wrong way.
No little surprises.
Already,
Do not follow us back to where
friendship.
No.
See, the best part of this, I have access to buttons now. That was going to be a button. I just don't know what button it was, so I didn't press it. But it may, but
maybe it needs to be a voiceover, like just saying "kid show."
Yeah. Okay. See, I just give me ideas. I got you.
No, have a button where it just says "kid show."
No,
Kid show. So I'm like,
bad.
boom! I put it right there. Just no. Oh, I got you.
So we will be at Gamma, or not Gamma, but Origins, and we'll be doing a show regarding what we see at Origins, which is perfect because it's in June, and so it's a couple months before Gen Con, so you get kind of a first look at what they're really going to hype up around Gen Con. So I'm really excited to go. It's not that far away from where we're at, so I look forward to sporting our stuff and pimping our ride.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's
and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make Gen Con this year. We were supposed to go, but my schedule changed. I'll be out of the country, and everybody else has got stuff going on. So this is going to be our version of Gen Con, so we're looking forward to bringing that to you. And thanks to Origin for giving us permission to get media passes.
Yeah,
so,
down.
Yeah. Last thing you may notice, the setup's a little bit different for this podcast. We're going to change up how we kind of do things. We just figured that Shay's just too pretty to be brought down by us gargoyles. So we're going to have our own ugly screen, and then the beautiful Shay's over there by himself.
Yes, this is a Shay corner. So when a Shay is saying something and they are trying to annoy me, you won't be able to annoy me. Because guess what? We're right here. We live, and we see people, and we say, hi, what up? And yeah, they're playing Lorcana, and guess what? I have the control.
That sounds like a horrible mistake, and maybe we'll change it again for next week.
Yep.
But we wanted to, give Shay a chance to kind of get behind the scenes. Shay went to school for this, so this is his chance to kind of run the
mega
the
shine,
turntables.
Shay. Mega shine.
Make us look pretty. We need help.
Yes. Yes, we do.
The burden is on you.
Well, don't say that.
So with that said, a lot of exciting things coming up for the channel, and we look forward to your feedback. Let us know what you think, and if you like the changes coming up. So with that said, gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's move on to one of the things we love to talk about, and that is industry news.
Industry news.
Industry news. With industry news, we're going to start off with a lot of industry mergers since the last time we did this. In fact, we'll kind of start with the first one before we get to the biggest one. The first one is going to be, this is very breaking news. Lucky Duck and Goliath Games are going to be merging. Sounds like Goliath is effectively acquiring Lucky Duck.
Yeah, well, Goliath went and grabbed the Funko Games guys. Remember that? They went and grabbed Funko Games and the IPs for all those not too long ago. We reported on it just a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. And then now they're using their name Goliath, and they're going to get Lucky Ducks, which I think there's been very few Lucky Duck games that I've opened and not liked. I mean, I would say there's more that I really enjoyed than I didn't. And they do a really good job with some of their titles. So I can't wait to see what they can do with Goliath, and hopefully we don't hear the same horror story that we heard with when Funko, because almost like all of their development team was let go. So hopefully we don't have the same situation with Lucky Duck, but only time will tell. But it is good that I think that combined forces to create Ultron. I'm okay with that. So,
and from Goliath's perspective, they felt like based on their internal research that in the industry, there's 2 major growth categories in the board game space. One of them is party games, and the other one is strategy games. And so they feel like this is a great fusion of two company strengths. Obviously, Lucky Duck, well known for games such as Right Over Your Shoulder,
Destiny. Yeah, absolutely. Destiny's good game.
Destiny's big one. Flamecraft.
Flamecraft is good.
Cosmo Octopus. It's a Wonderful World.
Yes.
I love It's a Wonderful World.
I
It's
think
such a good game.
So I think Lucky Ducks has got
We
a
need to play
lot
that
of
one.
very relevant games.
Oh, we're going to play that one.
But what's interesting to me, when you look at Goliath's resume, if you will, it feels like a company that has a lot of like Target store, Walmart store
I agree.
games.
No, and that kind of
Chess,
concerned me as a
checkers.
friendly local game store. I didn't think Goliath, I guess, had the backing to go out and grab something. If you were to ask me, even like I said, as a game store owner, which one I thought was higher on the food chain, I would be like, well, Lucky Duck, because they have been making bangers, just bangers. And then also the secondary, even with the Funko games, I thought their games are solid, good quality games. Pan Am is one of my favorite Ticket to Ride-ish set collect, but worker placement. Really good game. I really enjoyed that. I didn't think I would going into it, but a biggest concern I have though is Funko Games was mainly releasing at like a Target. These guys are kind of
bigger
yeah,
stores.
bigger
And I
stores,
do
bigger
have to give
box.
Goliath a little bit of. I love Rummy Cube.
I think Rummy Cube's amazing.
Yeah,
I played that all the time when we were younger. Yeah,
I played a lot, and again, I feel like that's a lot of the Goliath game. So I feel like this acquisition, if anything, kind of makes them a little bit more relevant because,
I agree.
this is just my
Nope, I agree.
impression.
Yep.
And kudos to Lucky Duck and the team over there. But I always felt like when I saw Lucky Duck at places, they just felt youthful.
Yes.
I guess it just kind of felt like a kind of a trendy,
on the edge of on the future of gaming. I agree with that.
Devin does.
Look at
Tabletop was there.
Destiny's with the apps,
Right.
And they also did another. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they did another really app-based games where you're trying to solve the murder, and that was Lucky Duck. Really good games. I can't remember the name off the top of my
Paranormal Mysteries.
Is it,
Paranormal.
did they do that one?
Yeah, they did that one.
Yeah,
the paranormal one that has the different.
I think that one, but
shapes.
there's also one that you use the phone and you like circle around, or you use an app and that uses the camera of the app, and you're trying to solve the mystery. I'll figure it out and come back next week. But they were ahead of the game, right? Like, so I felt Lucky Duck has been really good about finding. Like you said, the youthfulness, the trying to get gamers into it, which brings up a later topic we can talk about, but trying to get new gamers into their games, which I think they did a really good job of.
But again, you talk about the mass production and mass sales, which is what Goliath is known for. Again, the Rummy Cubes of the world, the word searches, Pop the Pig, Catch the Fox. I mean, they have just a litany of what, like I said, what I would call like the Walmart, Target, the stuff you're going to see in the kids aisle for board games that everybody buys their kids when they're little, and that is a lot of volume sales. And so with that said, this acquisition is now going to make Goliath Games the third biggest board gaming company in North America.
Wow.
So you could say they are becoming a Goliath.
Yeah, well,
I did that.
You did. I see that. That was
See,
pretty
that
good.
was
Yeah,
well.
it was a good pun. It's good.
Yeah,
Very
see,
punny.
see.
I made it. Work.
You're doing big things.
So anyways, but to your point though, the one thing I do hope, because we do, and we have seen this before with the Lucky Duck team, like I said, I met Devin, who has a YouTube channel, Devin Talks Tabletops, just a wonderful guy over there. Great guy in the community. I hope people like them don't lose their jobs.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, I think it's positive for Goliath to pick those guys up, because again, if you were to ask me which game I would want to play and you just told me it's a Goliath game or a Lucky Duck game, I would have been like Lucky Duck all day long.
All day.
All
fair.
day.
All day.
Fair, yeah.
And in Funko Games, I would even have said Lucky Duck games
Now,
all day
this
long.
is like the 1980s.
So-
I
Might
mean,
be
it was
different
the
conversation.
80s. I wasn't
but,
born.
I mean,
Tiddlywinks, baby. Let's go.
yeah, well,
Anytime you think of like the old school red box
that's it.
games.
Old schools. Yeah, old school
Yeah,
with
the red box.
with Goliath. Absolutely.
So with that, let's move on to the second big merger that we have seen. And this is more of a demerger.
The merger?
Demerger. It's French.
Oh.
That's very fancy. It's how fancy people say it.
You have to lift your
Finger
finger
up,
Pinkies
yeah,
pinkies
pick
out,
it up,
pinkies
pick it
up.
up, pick it up.
Demerger.
Demerger.
But this is actually kind of a big thing in the industry, because I think that this could have a big ripple effect in the industry with how this plays off. Long story short, Asmodee is going to be splitting off from Embracer. I gotta have the notepad for this. There's lots of notes.
Yeah.
I don't want to misreport anything, so bear with me. But Asmodee is going to be splitting off from Embracer Group. Now, keep in mind, Asmodee was just acquired by Embracer back in 2022. So this was a new acquisition that they had.
Okay.
That Embracer had just picked up. And the reason why they went through their merger that they did was because they wanted the portfolio of games that Asmodee brings to the table. That's what they found attractive. So they're going to be spinning off Asmodee along with a couple other brands that they've announced so far. Sounds like there might be a couple more coming. But Coffee Stain and Friends and Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. They got a thing with friends, apparently. Make sure you know. Stain something with coffee with your friends and go to Middle Earth with your friends.
Oh,
don't do it unless you have friends.
I'm down with going to Middle Earth with my friends. That sounds like a really fun, like Lord of the Rings game.
Right.
Middle Earth with
because we all know about Lord of the Rings.
Oh, stop it, Shay.
Oh, stop it. That is on my bucket list. I do want to go to Hobbiton in New Zealand.
Oh, is that really a place?
Have you?
No, get this. I knew that, and I don't even.
Yeah, they preserved it from the movies.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Is that where they filmed it or whatever? Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And now it's like it is
the
number one.
I would go to Middle Earth with friends.
That is the number one tour spot in New Zealand.
Yeah,
that's epic. That's awesome. I like.
It's like half the reason why people go to New Zealand.
That sounds like a great plan.
Not half. God, I want to go to New Zealand just because New Zealand.
It's a beautiful country.
God, it looks so pretty.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So anyways,
back on the track.
So not only are the Embracer going to create 2 more publicly traded companies, so Asmodee will also be publicly traded in Sweden on the NASDAQ Sweden. So if you do have somebody who lives there and you want to invest in Asmodee, you'll be able to do that now on the NASDAQ Sweden. Essentially, what I could tell based on the data is that this is nothing more than kind of a shell game for financials.
Sorry, as soon as you were going to that thing, I was like, well, basically what I could tell is they ran out of Star Wars product and they weren't sure what to do.
I don't know.
They're like, we're about to go broke.
Hit the split button or split.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I got sidetracked with my thoughts. Go ahead. You jumped off the rails. I jumped as well. We're back on the rails.
I do think that this is a kind of a bigger conversation that we won't be able to have completely tonight, but my thing is this. Let's get to the facts, is that Embracer has about $2 billion of debt after a deal with Saudi investors fell through in 2023. So I think that needs to be said at the start of this.
I've got a prince in Africa that keeps sending me emails. I don't know as a business if I should. Yeah,
I think we should invest.
Maybe we should invest.
Amazon gift card,
the buzz hot.
Maybe if we invest, we could become Asmodee one day. I don't know.
Hey.
Well, and so the problem with that is that so they acquire all of this debt through a failed deal last year of $2 billion. And so with this split off, well, actually, I should step back. With the debt that they acquired, all of basically the security of the loan that they got was on the Asmodee license.
Yeah.
So they basically leveraged Asmodee as collateral to...
Listen, these guys are they told the Saudis, these guys are going to be making Star Wars soon. Do you want to be a part of this? And they were like, here's a bunch of money.
Just print.
Yeah, just print money.
Now, we don't print.
We don't print.
The game prints.
We don't print enough to keep you going on it. But
maybe you should buy a TCG player because they'll also be printing money.
Asmodee has, as a store, and they get the worst rep. Anytime I go to any of these like conventions, they have the worst rep. Like people are like, oh, Asmodee, blah, blah, blah. I love my representative. I went to Gamma and I met a bunch of the people that are higher up, even the guy that does Gamegenics, and they were all amazing people. So I wish Asmodee the best in this split kind of thing. I hope it enables them to do more things.
Right, because Asmodee at the core of the data is Asmodee in 2023 through 2023 did about $1.1 billion of revenue. So when you talk about the breadth of the size of their business, and again, that goes back to why Embracer wanted to acquire Asmodee as part of a bigger acquisition that they had. It's because it is a cash cow. But the problem is what they did in splitting off Asmodee from Embracer, which initially sounds like, hey, great for Asmodee, it kind of frees them up from this.
Yeah.
Caveat, asterisk. And this is what kind of concerns me for Asmodee's perspective. They saddled Asmodee with $900 million of the debt that they acquired through this failed deal in 2023. So almost half of all the debt from this was just basically saddled on to the split off of Asmodee into its own publicly traded entity. And to be frank with you, this is not uncommon in the financial world. I mean, just even in the last couple years, companies like Kellogg's, companies like Pfizer, companies like VF Corp, which is Vanity Fair, like the North Face and Lee's and Levi and things like that. You get this quite a bit where you'll spin off maybe a less profitable branch because you want to allow different arms of your business to accelerate on the stock market. So it is a relatively common practice. But I guess what concerns me is usually you saddle the brand you don't have as much confidence in with the debt, because if they fail, it kind of frees the other companies to succeed.
Gotcha.
And so my fear is when you're saddling one of the split offs, and they think there's going to be about 5 total, but you're putting all the burden on one. And so,
yeah, but can't Asmodee carry it? I mean, they continue to push out games left and right.
As long as you don't have another 2020 where shipping prices and printing prices skyrocket, I think it can happen. But I mean, and don't forget, this is all on the backs of Asmodee having to sell off Miniature Mart.
Yes,
which recently happened as well. They actually,
but I don't think they had to sell that off. From the article I read, that they
freed up cash.
The people, they did free up some cash, but the people that actually bought it, they were employees that bought it from Asmodee to actually kind of do their own thing, which I think is amazing. By the way, that you have that you can work for a company and then turn around and buy it from that company is like the American dream, pretty much, right? Like,
but let's not forget that. Asmodee through Embrace also had to sell off Gearbox, and they had to sell off Saber, all in an effort to raise
and I didn't even know Gearbox was all under the same. I'm a huge video gamer, and I didn't know Gearbox was all under Asmodee and Embrace. And it's weird when you start getting into the business of the board gaming. And what you don't realize is how badly it actually affects things like delivery and warehousing and things like that until you are too late, into it, because they're going to have to figure out a way to cover that $90 million debt or $900 million. Yeah. So they're going to have to figure out a way to cover that somehow. Right. So, is it pricing changes? Is it shutting down some warehouses so they're watching their overhead? Is it losing
not
reps?
Printing Star Wars Unlimited?
That's what they said. They just go, hey, we'll just reprint that twice and we'll cover that $900 million debt. I know I at least want another 40 cases, but anyway, I don't know. I'm wondering how it all plays out in the long run. That's kind of where we're at.
I love Lorcana. That's my thought.
That's not even close. That's not even.
I mean, you talk about stuff, but here's the thing. Like, it's business stuff. Like, it's whoosh. It's like, whoosh. I'm not gonna.
But I will say this because
can Shay get his arc? Is Arkham Horror is still going to be printed? That's
really all I care about.
Listen,
am I getting my Arkham Horror? Am I getting my Pandasaurus?
Ticket to Ride, Catan?
Am I getting my Ticket to Ride?
Yeah. That's all he really cares about.
That's all I care about. Like the business stuff.
But that's actually the problem, though, is because. This
well,
is
how many of those IPs do they spend off too? Like, because they're all worth money that they've paid for. So how many of those IPs like Arkham Horror do they spend off, or do they try to reprint again with the 4th edition or 6th edition, whatever it may be, right? To try to hit that cash cow a little harder.
Because I really look if Asmodee really wants to make money, you know how you make money? You give a Shay more Mansions of Madness. Like, that's how you make money. Like, you get that because they haven't made anything for that for a while.
They haven't either. I'm surprised.
And that was like a big.
And I think one of the things that they did, my biggest complaint about Mansions of Madness, and I'm going to have a moment here. Just give me a minute.
Come
on. So they made this really good art. Sorry. So they made this really good art on these little like cardboard, and then they made these really cool miniatures. But then they slid in the art to block these miniatures, block this really cool art. And it irritates me on Mansions of Madness why they would do that. So I think you should come out with another one and give me that either beautiful art or beautiful minis and Rumble.
There's no rebuttal. I agree. But I think it's more of the thing of they have 2 versions of it. So if you don't like minis, especially if you don't want them all painted up and all that stuff, then you just use the tiles. I think it's just giving it a you could do it like this.
Yeah, but they could have made the tile clear on the bottom as well and show these awesome art as well as the miniature you're playing with.
But then wouldn't that get like kind of busy?
No, I don't think so. I
Maybe
think
not.
The bottom's just black.
Yeah.
And so it just shows they already cleared out the top of where the word that you can see. So I don't understand why they wouldn't just clear out the entire art and let the art piece slide in, because they slide in and out of those pieces all day long.
Yeah.
And let them slide in, and then you have that pretty art there, and then you have a little thing that snaps on top of them, and you got really good art standing, or a really good miniature standing on art. But anyway, I'm going off the thing. So you can reprint that. I would buy it. I'd buy a different one printed better.
I would.
But I think in terms of the topic itself, I think the thing that concerns me is just what kind of impact does it have when you have to tighten the belt? You're going to lose people. You're going to lose designers. You're going to lose
well, I hope not.
manufacturing, which can potentially hurt lead times and access to product.
But I don't think they'd set them up for failure and spread them aside. Like you said, they've been carrying the heheavy of the load. They've been carrying the heavy of load. So I mean, why they think that they can handle it, right? I mean,
again, 2023 again, early projection revenues are about 1.1 billion. So I mean, they certainly have a great cash flow, but yeah, I mean, that's business world. That's not much, but. They need people to buy a ticket to ride Legacy some more.
Right.
If they printed it more, I would.
Yeah, you're right.
It seems like it's always sold out. Millennium, that new Millennium, I don't know if it's them, but they carry it.
Yeah.
It's always sold out.
Really?
Feast for Odin.
Oh, yeah.
They just reprinted it. I've got 3 copies, and then I'm like, I want 3 of the expansions. Sorry, we're sold out.
Like
Heat.
Yeah.
Heat's hard to get its hands on.
You better get that expansion.
The expansion should be here Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
So, they actually limited me. They didn't even print enough. I ordered 2 cases, and they were only going to give me like 8 or 9.
And he already got 2 of those sold.
Yeah.
So, that's
a hard stop. There are 2 that are sold.
There's 2 that Insta.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that it's, again, surprising that you go from out of one side, we need a way to make more money, but then you go on the other side, like everything you're popping is selling, man, because you're running out. So either you need whoever's behind the big desk, the big desk in the corner, that gets all the paperwork and says we need this many of this and this many of this and projects out, because I know that guy's very important, and the stress I would never want that kind of stress on my shoulders. But he's hitting numbers very conservative when he could be hitting a lot higher numbers with more sales and more prints. Star Wars. Their response is, we didn't know it was going to be that successful. It sold out. This is what I heard straight from their mouth, that it sold more in the first month than Destiny's did the entire first year of release.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that is insane. But you didn't know. People's been begging for this. You didn't know it was going to be this popular?
Right.
I mean, to be real, like I look,
stop it, Laura Khanna. Stop it, Ravensburger. Stop it. You wouldn't have went out and got the IP if you thought it wasn't worth something.
That is
stop
true.
it.
But
stop
you
it.
always you can admit that from 2020 to 2023, the influx of people who's been in the CCG, TCG,
I agree.
And so
look at those companies. Look at Bandai. Yeah. They can't keep anything in stock. Yeah, Bandai, One Piece is selling literally. Retails at like $120 and they're selling for $240, $250, $280, $300 a box because they can't print enough of them to keep up. They're going back and reprinting while trying to include their new prints, and they just can't.
Do you know what I love? I love that Dion hates TCGs.
I hate him,
and he gets so passionate.
Oh God, I hate him with
so much about them. And every time I come here, there's a new product in his store.
I have to, but I hate it. I hate it, but
I'm not a TCG shop. I'm
not. I'm a board game shop that unfortunately has to carry TCGs to keep the lights on.
Don't say unfortunately. Don't let me bring the camera back to the customer right now.
Either way, again, whenever you have those mergers, acquisitions, you just hope that good things happen. But again, this is a little bit different. This is more of a financial move with the spinoffs. And so I just hope for Asmodee and the quality of the products that fall under them that this doesn't compromise any of that. So with that said, let's move to the next topic. And Shay, this one, I feel like this is going right after you, because as the resident millennial, and what's above millennial? You're older than me.
Wow. If you say boomer, I swear to God,
you're not far.
No, I am. So I bet I'm probably the same age as you.
It's Generation X.
Really?
That's why.
How old are you?
What's that? What's before?
Generation X.
I was 81.
Oh, okay, I'm just a few years older than you.
But you're a whole different generation.
Really?
Yeah, I was the first.
I think I'm Generation X. In fact, I'm D-generation.
That's why they made the group D-Generation X, because y'all Generation X.
We got the D-Gen, we've got the millennial, and we've got, what are you?
I'm a millennial.
Are you millennial?
Yes, I'm a millennial.
You're like on the back end of it.
I am the beginning. I am the elder. I'm the elder. I am the elder.
Elder millennial?
No, I'm the elder millennial.
No, I am.
No, 1981 was the first year you could be a millennial.
1980?
81.
He's like 80.
81.
I'm pretty sure you can do 1989 was like the cutoff.
No.
I got to point this way, but Shay's face.
I know. Huh.
So I'm a millennial.
Stop. You're showing your age. Stop it.
It's just what it is. I'm not old. I'm just experienced.
So they coming at you too then?
No, they're not coming at me. They're coming after you.
Gen Z.
Gen Z. You are more Gen Z.
So not even anybody at the table.
I feel like they're coming after So they're coming after somebody. That Gen Z is who they are specifically targeting. So there was a report that just came out kind of highlighting specifically Mattel. There was a lot of information about Mattel specifically. They interviewed them. And it basically said, according to a Mattel spokesperson, that we now have a generation of people where gameplay is completely native, meaning that, of course, that's something they've grown up a part of. The frequency of gameplay has gone up, but importantly, with more occasions to play in games being designed for a much wider segment of the population. That was the information that they provided in this article. Basically, board games have risen in popularity with the Gen Z, who are looking to detach from screens, which has obviously been kind of such a big part of that lifestyle. You know, give a kid a screen at the restaurant so they don't cry. Give an iPad just so they don't talk to you. It's unfortunately a big part of society today.
Wow.
See,
showing your age, boomer.
Well, sad to me. But Mattel is basically going to go through a lot of their old games and make new versions. And of course, the one getting all the attention is Scrabble, to make a more inclusive and, I mean, the best I could come up with was just dumbed down version.
How? I think they are. Well,
how can you make a dumbed down version
in their data,
of a game that has tiles?
Because they made it cooperative. So there's like little cards now that they've created with it that are cooperative, like how we build this together. Which, if you've played Illiterati, which by the way is a great game, Illiterati, said it again, is a great game. I played at Gamma, and it is very similar to Scrabble, cooperative Scrabble. So we're trying to work together, and I'm giving you letters to figure out the words that you need in order to meet the what's in front of you, which is
I don't think that's
very Scrabble-ish style, but it is a word game. So they're changing their word game, which has been, the same forever.
Yeah. Well,
and they're changing things like Monopoly. They're making Monopoly Go now, which they've had for a while.
Yeah.
But that is what's the unlimited one? What is the other one that you play a lot of? The card game, is that Go?
No, that's Deal.
Monopoly Deal now. They're also doing Uno differently.
Yeah. I mean,
Uno they've always kind of thrown something on.
I love Uno Flip.
Yeah.
And there's Uno No Mercy that I bought just because it was just this. Because
but the vibe of so many.
What was the other one? The one where you
Twister.
Yeah, where you actually put pads on your hands.
Too much for the young
and
generation.
You show on a phone, which I don't understand. We're creating games to remove from screens, but we're going to use a screen anyway. But that way, so you don't have the interaction of other people,
it's
which
a really
is pretty
crappy
surprising.
Version of Just Dance.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Yeah.
I mean, give it a chance, though. I would if I
know you will, and that's great, and that's right in your realm.
It is
without pushing my glasses up and sticking my nose in the air with
when you were 15, 16 years old, there was nothing better on a Friday night than a good old game of Twister. I'll tell you what.
That was different.
That's a different kids show.
Sorry. Anyway.
Circle of life,
what the topic is that they are actually dumbing down games for Generation Z.
Well, and that was actually one of the reasons that they gave was the data that they had for 25 to 35-year-olds indicated that there was an excess of 30 to 40% of the words that they felt like they had to look up because they didn't know if they were real words or not. So with an effort, they're trying to make a game to a point where it's not so hard to know if it's a real word or not. So they're giving
that's fair.
So they're going to print them in a way where one side will be the traditional Scrabble, the 75-year-old version, and on the other side, it's going to be one that kind of gives you hints and makes it a little easier to create.
It's cooperative too, I think, right?
And that actually touches on a point I was going to bring up by World Scrabble champion Brett Smithera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he said, the game, speaking of Scrabble, speaks to a trend in younger people who want to avoid competitive games and a sense of losing, instead favoring teamwork and collaboration, working towards a fun goal together.
Is that just them or just the style of people? Because I love a good co-op game. But I can also be also going to be competitive.
Well, I can tell you, cooperative games have made a huge increase over the past few years because nobody likes to feel the L, right?
Right.
And I don't like to lose either, but I think losing makes me better. And I think that's my generation of like strap up your boots, like back in my day.
Definitely Gen X or
Degeneration X, yeah.
See, I don't think it's bad that we are increasing co-op games because co-op games could bring more people who don't play games to play games. Like for instance, my mom, love her to death. she is not a
He felt
gamer.
obligated to say that.
I think
No,
There's some guilt in there.
No,
my
no.
mom.
The only guilt
guess I
is
love
that
her.
I'm gonna bust her out how she don't play board games with me.
Oh, okay.
That's the guilt. And
something.
Yeah.
but
He messed up lately.
what I'm saying is we played Pandemic. Like we played Pandemic during Pandemic. It was actually funny. We did Pandemic Legacy during the pandemic. That was not
Such a great game.
Real funny.
It's-
Make fun
it's-
of pandemic.
I did. No, it was really no. When I played the pandemic while it was pandemic happening, like I got scared
Yeah,
because
that's
you
cool.
know how the pandemic happens,
Yeah.
and then that happens. I'm like,
Yeah, and then that it takes it one step further. If you've never played Pandemic Legacy, you should.
oh, it's so good.
I am not a huge Legacy fan. That has turned me around, and I'm not a huge cooperative fan.
Well, there's a reason
that
why
also,
Pandemic Legacy is one of the top BGG games.
and
of all
it
time.
is because it is a really, really good, well done game. In the beginning, I was like, "Yeah, this is going to be stupid," and then about halfway through, I just was like, "Can we do another one right away? Can we get another one? I'll stay open another hour. Let's get this done."
Once you get to like let's say April, May,
yeah,
oh,
so
it
it's getting
starts
so good.
going down.
Well, you know,
I mean, I always said there's two kinds of people in the world. There's people that love board games and people that just haven't found the right one yet.
That's fair.
And so if this is what it takes to dumb down a game, I won't say dumb down, to redo a game,
Reimagine.
to reimagine a game. I like that way better. Reimagine a game. Good job, Willy Wonka. To reimagine a game in order to get somebody else interested in it that normally wouldn't, because the struggle is real to get them away from screen time, to get them away from, to have a little bit of social interaction. I know that I struggle with my children to have social interaction. So board games allow me to do that. So I do think that that's important, that they change it up if that's what it takes to get that social interaction. And nobody wants to buy. I mean, I don't like Scrabble. I've never played Scrabble. I might try the new version. You know, I might.
Words are hard.
Well, yeah, words are difficult for me. I have something called Dinglish, which is Dion's English, which is nowhere near the regular. And I'm like, I spelt it correctly. What do you mean? Co-opetition is a word. And she's like, no, that's what we're cooperative, but we're competing. And they're like, no, that's not a real word. And we got to Google it. And then we become a statistic on your paper. And it's just
You
never
add to
good.
the problem. You're like,
Yeah.
this is why we did it. Yeah.
This is why we did it.
Well,
I
I'll
got to
tell you-
ask AI. AI is cooperative, co-opetition a word.
Shay's over here with his ChatGPT.
Oh, Shay loves the
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I can tell.
What about this word?
Oh, it helps.
I've got 3 P's, 2 B's, and a Q. Make it a word.
Don't
word.
I mean, I probably
Yes.
could. Like, I won't it because that's cheating.
That's
but I
cheating.
could.
Yeah.
Might have done it with Wordle.
Now,
I'm joking.
my Katukas is going to hurt here because I'm definitely fence sitting on this one because if I was a Gen Z, I'd be relatively insulted at the fact that you felt the need to dumb things down and simplify them because they're too hard for me.
I think the go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I'm just one of those people who I like you, Dion. Again, this is just old man yells at clouds time here.
Back in my day.
But it's true. Back in my day, I think that
Fell right in that one.
I felt because my knees are old. But I feel like you do just in life, not just in board games, but a lot of avenues of life, whether it be failed relationships, whether it be failed in a job or early stages of your business career. I learned the best lessons that stayed with me, that were literally ingrained in me from failure, because like I didn't want to feel those things again. And so there was kind of one of two ways: quit and walk away, or two, just get better so you never felt that again.
Okay,
And
well,
so,
I'm going to be devil's advocate a minute here, because you fail so much in life. When you play a board game, some people don't want that competition or failing. Not me personally. I'm down with like, let's go head to head and rumble. But I also want a game that's going to last me 3.5, 4 hours where my brain hurts at the end of
Well,
it.
I said I'm sitting the fence. You didn't let me get to the other part of the fence.
So you can't. I mean, I understand what
you
you're
only
saying, like
saw
as in
one
a
leg.
personal. Like,
Well, that's what I'm
like
saying
a
is, like-
personal world, absolutely. But
Right.
on a board game, supposed to escape all of that.
Right. And yes, and that's why we do it. But what I'm trying to say, that's why I'm saying is I'm sitting the
You're
fence.
setting the fence on it.
Because
Okay.
the athlete in me hates to lose and will stay at the gym long. Well, used to.
I
Used to
bet
be very skinny.
You haven't seen a gym in a long time.
I have, actually. I saw it a couple weeks ago. But anyway, I just saw my graduation post on YouTube and I was like, whoa.
I'm not.
Whoa. Okay, that was cool. Anyways,
I don't even know how to spell gym in Scrabble. So
B-O. Anyways.
Yeah,
So
Starts with
the
something with
athlete in
food.
me loves to win,
Yes.
loves the competition. Losing drives me. So that's where I disagree with it. But on the flip side of it, I have my wife, and that's not her personality. And it's one of the defining characteristics of why she stays away from a lot of board games with me, is because she doesn't want to compete. That's not what she wants to do in her downtime.
Yep.
She wants to relax. She wants to have something passive. She doesn't want to feel like there's a competition involved. And so from that perspective, I can see a value and a benefit to this kind of stuff. Had you let me finish, you see the other leg, which is I also can understand the logic of it. You know, there are a lot of people out there like my wife who will never play competitive games because they don't want that stress. And so even though it doesn't work for me, it doesn't mean that I have an opinion that should supersede everybody else out there, because there are people like my wife who that will be the thing that gets
I think
them to the
those
table.
people are wrong, but it doesn't mean that they, you know, they're wrong. You could be wrong and still be okay in life. That's fine.
Yeah, you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yes, you're wrong entitled to.
Share your wrong opinion, Shay.
Okay, no. So, yeah, we're doing new things, and we're keeping it.
Oh God.
So you know how I can do a hand gesture, and it will trigger my camera. It's been going in and out as I've been moving. I've been trying to fix it. And so I was like, hey, wait, and it triggered.
That's
So this
horrible.
first episode's gonna be scuffed with Shay.
This is great. I gotta fix it.
They'd be like, why does Shay keep going in and out?
Yeah.
Why is
we
Shay-
have
why
a new
is Shay
camera guy.
pulsating?
That's what it is.
We
I
got a
can
new
fix it.
camera and
So Gen Z isn't as bright as Gen.
now we see why they had to trim the games down.
Yeah,
that's
that's
all
what
I'm
it
going to
is.
say. You got to see it in real time.
Oh, stop it.
Look, I see. I
So-
do have something to say about this. So, like, let's be real. I
real.
do not want, like, there's games, and we're going to talk about this later today. There are games that are like, there's nothing wrong with a competition game. There's nothing wrong with a co-op game, because co-op games are usually very hard to win. And so, like, for a team game, like, usually if you lose as a team. So I
Not
don't
all of
see
them, though.
Well, not all of them, but like the
Yeah,
ones
I mean,
like
But a lot of times you'll get I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of times a cooperative game is so what happens to you guys like me who try to quarterback the game.
Right.
And then it's not fun for everybody else because I've already figured out how to get there, and now I'm just frustrated because nobody else will follow me to the finish line.
So
So
the other people are bored because they're just going to do what they're told.
yeah, and that's usually the case. That's why I dislike cooperative games. Now there are some that are very difficult, like Marvel Champions, that I enjoy that are cooperative games, because I'm so busy worried about what I'm doing that I can't focus on what everybody else is doing. So without being the, you know, but I agree with what you're saying to a point. I just feel that games are games for games for everybody.
Yeah, and also like it's like party games and those like we call it like simplified games, but sometimes you just want to play a game. You don't feel like reading the whole book, trying to think too much. Sometimes you want to escape. You're already working a 9 to 5. You got Craig back here. You get messing with you, and he's telling you he's your boss, and you know he shouldn't be. And now you're trying to figure that out. I'm not gonna play I'm not gonna play Inventions after I have to deal with Craig. I don't know where Craig came from, but the point is that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
There's a Craig out there who's like, is he talking about me?
Yeah. Craig's like, I wasn't that mean to him.
Yeah. He's coming after me on this podcast.
That's right.
We're going to get a cease and desist from
Craig. Damn it, Craig. Not Craig.
It's because of the movie Friday. Why
gotcha.
Craig popped in my head, actually,
Damn it,
I
Craig.
think. But the point is, like, I like this idea of making like new versions of games. I like this idea of making it maybe not as rule
Target
heavy.
audience.
And I also think that, and this is a whole, I'm not gonna get into it, people tagging TikTok as being like these simpletons that need stuff really irks me. And so that's kind of, because I know TikTok a lot, and I know that TikTok is not just people dancing and doing funny skits, and that's what.
Well, it depends on the group that you're in. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. The point is, that's the only reason why I'm mad about this, because that's not TikTok. I know TikTok. Board game TikTok is so much more deeper.
I like board game TikTok. I am a huge fan.
And
I would
who
be
has a
very sad
TikTok?
if they ban TikTok.
You know, has a board game TikTok?
Who?
Champions of Tabletop.
Champions Tabletop does
Check
have a
that out
board
at
game.
Yo, we
TikTok.
do. Look at that transition.
Don't ban
We
us.
just need somebody to throw some more TikToks on there.
Right. He's still working on the camera.
So,
All right, anyways.
give me the week. Let's roll up. Let's
All right,
roll
with
along.
that said, we'll kind of wrap that up, but definitely an interesting topic. Leave down below your thoughts on today's industry news, again, with the mergers, or your thoughts on simplifying some games to make them more appealing to a wider audience of people. How about that?
Really good.
Like that?
Yeah.
That's smooth like silk, wasn't it?
That was pretty good.
All right, so let's get back to games of the week.
Hey, can I go
this is our-
first?
Gentlemen, this is our chance to share with everybody
going
the
first.
games that they are very excited
I
about.
want to go first.
Have played, recently played,
Ooh,
or
pick me.
games that you think that the crowd out there should get into. So, Shay.
Ooh, wow. I begged for a pick.
Yeah, go ahead, Dion.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
got
technically,
he's so
it's almost like
excited.
a code because I have my own, but I agree with this as well.
What was the sound effect we were going to do whenever
No,
this company
isn't
was
the
saying?
this is
What is it? Do you still have?
Yeah.
That needs to be played.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you about my friend Vital Lacerda. I've never met the guy. I hope he's at Gamma so I can shake his hand
Or
for all
Origins.
the amazing Origins. I mean, I don't even know where I'm going.
You went to Gamma.
I went to Gamma. He was not there that I know of, but I wish he was at, I hope he is
Boomer.
at, it is Boomer.
Boomer memory, right there.
Yeah, it is. And Ian O'Toole, God, it like literally the best artist to
He's
ever
not going to make out with you, Dion. Just stop.
the best artist to ever be an artist in board gaming. I love the way this game looks. I love the way this game plays. I need to play it again. I'm not going to say it's the best game I've ever played, and I'm not even going to put it in my top 10 yet. I do need to play it again. I will tell you the first time I played it, I had a headache. Because there's a lot. It's a lot going on. So much going on that I need to play it again.
Well, and in fairness, Dion, when you played it, you got to remember that this game is all about an evolution of ideas.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
In
Oh,
fact,
okay. That's the problem.
literally, I think he designed the game, and Vital can reach out to me and tell me I'm crazy.
Or
but
just
I think
reach out to him, period.
yeah, well, just send me your
Friends.
number. We'll talk. We'll chat back and forth. Anyway, he's never sponsored but gosh, I would love a Vital sponsored like
I know you
for
would.
the month. Oh
you would.
man.
Mhm.
I love Eagle Griffin.
I
He's
know you
they're
do.
amazing. I need to talk more with him. Anyway, so the game literally feels like he designed it and then put the Inventions IP on it.
Yeah.
Because he thought, well, maybe this would work good with this because it doesn't feel, and I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't feel when I'm playing it. The game mechanics are nice, but I don't feel like the inventions is what makes it shine. And I was really hoping going into it that it was going to be one of those games that I was so hyped about the IP of the game. You know, we're creating stuff and inventing stuff, and it's kind of a small part of the actual overall game.
It's because the game, like,
Yeah, Shay, you had a chance to play this as
I
well.
played the
Yeah,
same
Shay
thing,
and I
which
played
was
it this
surprising
Thursday.
because my brain didn't hurt afterwards. Like,
I had a headache, and I don't know if it's because I didn't eat
Well,
well,
that's probably
earlier
why.
in the day.
That's probably-
but I can tell you, and a lot of it was frustration that some of them people at the table were well advanced, like watched hours upon hours of gameplay for a game that wasn't out yet. And I was the one coming to the table with like 30 minutes of knowledge, and I think that was part of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I was also, I can tell you one of the things I hated about it is that
Tell
there
us.
was always a way to do what you wanted to do. You just had to figure it out. So that created this analysis paralysis where you knew there was a way to figure it out. You just had to figure it out, which made the turns go really long.
That's the
I
problem.
mean, there was a couple times I got up, went to the bathroom, helped customers up front, had a conversation, came back, and it was still not even close to being my turn.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating in the game. And I think that's why it took 3.5 hours, 4 hours to play the game.
That's the rub of the game. Is because because of that analysis paralysis, it will take so long to do it. And I even seen on like Board Game Geek, that was one of the struggles of it, is just that it's just you can do so much and you can figure out a way. There is a optimal play on your turn.
Every turn.
And you have all the time in the world to do that.
Well, and I hate to be that guy. Like, I hate to be the guy that everybody's waiting for.
Right.
There's a
Maybe
couple
create
people
like a house rule shot clock.
you would have to.
You would have to.
But then you're nervous and you're just going to make bad calls.
See, yeah.
And I
a
don't
little
know
bit
if
of
that's
pressure.
the way you want to push the game
I don't know
along.
if that's
It's
what
just,
the fix is.
yeah, I don't know what the fix is. I do know that I need to play it again before I call it my top 10. But I will tell you, I was so hyped about the game, and this is why it made the game of the week for me. I was so hyped about the game. I played the game, and I did enjoy it. I don't know if it's one that I would readily push onto people because it is pretty heavy.
Oh, yeah, no.
Do you think the overhype hurt it for you? Because it's kind of like that
Probably. Oh, yeah.
movie that
No,
you
no.
see the
I do it
previews
every
for,
year.
You're like, I cannot wait for this game.
I could tell you a story that happens every
movie.
year. Huge football fan, as we were discussing before. Love football. I used to love it more, but we'll talk about that at a different time. But every year, same with hockey, big hockey fan. That's why I have a hockey sweater on. Every year I get super hyped about Madden coming out or NHL coming out. I'm super
NCAA
they're going to add. Oh yeah, I get super hyped.
No episodes in July.
And then EA always releases a
garbage.
Turd. Like it always releases something that's just a little update from last year. And I go, man, or they remove something that I love from the previous years. And so maybe that is it. Maybe I was so hyped about Inventions coming out. Just now, to live up to the hype. Which is horrible. Well, I guess one of the things that kind of bothered me a bit is before Inventions actually got its way around, which is like this month, and starting into next month is going to start being readily available for everybody on eaglegriffin.com or your friendly local game store. But before it's readily available, they're already announcing the next one Ian O'Toole and Vital Lacerda is working on.
Are they just best friends?
They should be. They should be. But I did see some of his artwork on some other things, and I'm like, ooh, this is my friend Ian. He's not really my friend, but he is now. We're best friends.
Well, he is on your screensaver.
He is. So. I've never seen a picture of him. I just know that he draws the best pictures. For board game, his aesthetics are.
Youngest son is now named Ian.
No, that's not true. It's Victor. But anyway,
it is.
He does some really good work, and you could pick out, and I'm looking at them now, but you could pick out some of the top games that I have over there, and Weather Machine, On Mars, Lisboa, Rococo. You knew that was coming. Rococo Eve isn't Vital Lacerda, by the way, but it is Ian O'Toole's art, and it is amazing. O'Toole, yeah, you guys are tools. Anyway, I'll stop talking about my game of the week. It is my game of the week. Game of the week.
So, that was going to be like kind of my game of the week because I did have fun playing it. And I feel like that game is more for Magic players than for regular board gamers. Because all the chaining you have to do. That's why I was telling some people that, if you like Magic, that's the main mechanic is the chaining.
I agree with that.
But my game. So, backstory, not that much backstory, but I really wanted to do something that was like, can we do a game? Can we do like a campaign legacy game in a weekend? Like, because the one problem with campaign games is that you try to do bi-weekly and you do all that kind of stuff and you end up like losing out or you lose an interest. Like I'm playing Descent right now and I'm like, I know we're at the end, but I'm like, we should try something different. And so it's that thing. So this weekend or last weekend, whenever this is getting posted, we played King's Dilemma. King's Dilemma is a simple game.
Yeah.
It's just a negotiation game where you are the part of the King's Council and what you're trying to do is figure out the dilemma the King's is happening. So the people will say one thing and you guys like yay or nay. And you are all different houses and you have different agendas. But let me tell you, while we play the game, because the game's that simple. You say yay, nay, how much power you have. Good. We were so invested. Yeah. Like we felt so.
But you busted it out in a weekend. Yeah, like you were Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You busted all.
Yeah.
And how many sessions was this? Was like
it's supposed to be like 12 sessions. We'll do the whole scenario. You could do more. But it was such a great time.
Well, I know someone at the table was happy it was over when it was over.
Yeah.
But it was still had a blast playing it, I think.
Yeah, I think not everybody liked it, like especially in the beginning, because again, it's more of a narrative game. Like that is what it is. It's not really a game that you're trying to figure out the biggest strategies. It's more bluffing. But once you get into it and get into the story, that's what the person I know you talk about. Like the last day was really fun because it was like intense and we were really trying to figure it out. And I can see the flaws of it, but it's definitely a one-shot game. But you can buy a repack, a recharge pack. What do they call it? And you can just put new pieces.
So are you looking forward to Queen's Dilemma, which is the new one coming out or new one out? I'm not sure one of the other.
I don't know yet.
Is it out?
I don't know yet because we are looking for another game. We're looking for you should. We're looking for another game that we want to do for our next. So we're going to do it in June too. I'm hoping it's Either Fields because then we'll just do a couple of weekends of doing that. But I love King's Dilemma, so that's my game of the week. Is King's Dilemma.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you had a blast with it.
Well, my game of the week is actually going to lead into our next topic as well, which is why I wanted to make sure I went last. My game of the week is Rococo.
No, it's not.
No, it's absolutely not Rococo.
You should play it. It's a great game.
I want to play it.
Yeah, one day I will.
You haven't played it yet?
No, I told you that the only Lacerda type
Rococo's
game.
not Lacerda.
I know, that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's why I said Lacerda type game was.
It is Eagle Griffin,
was
which is
Inventions.
really good.
And I played Kanban a little bit, but we didn't actually finish it.
I haven't played Federations either, which again isn't a Lacerda game,
Anyways,
but it is in the same
back to
Eagle
my game of the
Griffins.
Yes,
Back to my game of the week.
I mean, really, we're having a really good conversation.
really good conference. That's the reason why we're doing a long form video.
Nobody
for this
cares.
kind of
Anyways,
conversation.
nobody
All right, so back to my game of the week, which is going to be War of the Ring, a classic game that I'd never had a chance to play. I've owned for quite a while. It's part of my shelf of opportunity. So anytime I get to take the old cellophane, I get excited. I just feel like I'm cleaning my house a little bit, because then I punch all the cardboard out. And I'm like, that's one thing that's out of my house now. Just feels good.
Does it?
It's like house cleaning.
Well, I got a rebuttal for what you're about to complain about, but go ahead and tell us about your game. What was it like?
So War of the Ring obviously is a tactical board control type of game. Kind of reminded me a little bit of old school Risk in a way.
Yep.
Obviously with a lot more complexity, a little bit of dice rolling to figure out your actions for each turn. Then that will lead into effectively Sam and Frodo trying to get across Middle Earth and try to find their way to Mount Doom to, of course, destroy the ring. Of course, they're joined by the Fellowship of the Ring, played by the Free People. So we did a 2v2 version of this game, which worked out well for me and my nephew, terrible for my father and brother, partly just because we're more youthful and full of energy and intelligence, and my brother and father are just a little bit elderly.
Wow.
So just facts. It just is what it is. Which is why my dad fell asleep at the Golden Meeple Awards in December when we did those.
I remember that. Go back and watch that. That was a good one.
That was.
But with that said, just really enjoyed the tactical elements of it. The hard part is we did not do enough prep for the game leading into game night, which is partly on us. That will lead into our next topic, but 41-page rule book, about 2.5 hours of YouTube videos to try to understand what I read. And by that point, you're just that right there. You're that right there.
Yes.
Could not have been better time,
Sorry.
Dion. It's literally how
it's getting late.
We've literally started playing the game at like 12:30. And so it was a very long night. And we had fun, and we didn't get to execute a lot of strategy because again, we were just trying to figure out everything. But overall, I can see why, it's a top, I think, 20 BGG game of all time. I can already see the deluxification bug creeping in with me because I don't have the cool pieces, but everybody else does. So the mountain sticking up, Mountain Doom, like cool print files look way cooler than what I had on the board. Painted minis, definitely got to do that. So overall, though, good experience. Like I said, if you like Risk, if you like those kind of board controls with a lot of mass miniatures moving, like a Zombicide kind of thing, it definitely just kind of had one of those feels of moving big armies around to each other. And so that was my pick of the week. But it really led to a bigger conversation, which is going to be our new segment called Tabletop Topic.
Table talk topic. Table
topic.
That's gonna be the theme song.
Table topic.
No. How you said it? You said topic. Yes, that's the hi hats right there.
Yeah. Okay. Table topic.
Table topic. This is our new segment of each show, part of our new look, new design, old feel, and that is going to be talking about interesting things that happen at our gaming tables to share with you guys.
Yes.
Of course, in the comments below, we'd love for you to share some of your opinions or experiences on these topics as well to help increase the community and conversation around the topic. So this week's topic came from that experience of opening a game and seeing a 41-page rule book and then getting into 3 hours of YouTube videos. And there were numerous points where we decided we were going to try a different game. We talked about playing Beast, but nobody knew how to play Beast. That was on my show.
I want
such a good
Beast.
game. I really want
and
Beast.
It seemed like it was going to be easy. It was a 17-page rule book, but then we watched the 30-minute video in the midst of the other 2.5 hours of war. We watched a lot. We basically had no fun because it was like all watch YouTube videos. Nobody talk. Everybody listen. Everybody feel brain burn. Nobody was having fun. And it just got to that point where it just felt frustrating of like, unless you have somebody at the table, my topic is this. Are you the one that always has to teach the new board games? I know, Dion, the answer is yes. And if
I don't know if you know what's on the back of my jersey. It is Game Master.
Don't know if you know what I do on Wednesdays.
And if so, and if that is so, is there come a point where you get tired of having to teach people? Like, don't you wish some people would teach you?
Well, okay, so let me attack this on a couple things. First of all, I'm going to come at you directly, and this isn't this is more of an old school throwback to the pit, but it's your own damn fault. You buy these heavy, massive games on Kickstarter, and then you go, well, it doesn't matter.
I bought it at Voss Media Board Game Cafe.
You still buy these massive, heavy games, and then you're like expected to play like Guess Who. It doesn't work that way. It's not Scrabble. It's not dumbed down for you. These heavy, big games are what you love to buy, and that's great because you like to go look at all these cool games on my shelf. And it feels good.
Full excitement to play.
So, and that's amazing. But the problem is you're going to have to realize along with that comes the heaviness of learning something that has a little crunch to it. It's not something that you're going to pop out and play. Now, there is a time and a place for the let's play Project L, let's play Coffee Rush, let's play some simple, easy, fun games that you want to play. However, unfortunately, when you say, hey, at 12:30 in the morning, let's play, isn't that when you said it's 12:30 in the afternoon?
No, this was after. I mean, we started at 6 p.m.
Okay, so you start at 6 p.m. in the evening and go, let's pull this big old game off my shelf, set it up, and we're gonna catch it right away. Those games need 2 or 3 playthroughs just to kind of be like, oh, I got it, right? And this is the biggest problem I have with some of the bigger box stuff that you mainly keep around, and why I try not to keep a ton of them here. I do have some, but I try not to keep a ton of them here, is because this is the situation. You remember, you do all the stuff, right? Like right now, if you ask me to pull out, I just played it this Thursday. If you ask me to play out Age of Innovation, Inventions, I probably can't remember every piece that's working because I haven't played it enough. It's not popped out long enough, and that's a heavier, beefier game. So you kind of do this to yourself is the first thing. The second thing is, yes, I'm always the guy that teaches. I enjoy it when someone like Josh can come to our shop I found in the community some guys that can just come and go, hey, I'm going to teach you this game, which is good because that means I know they've done the legitimate rules of reading too. I'm the kind of guy that goes, are you sure that's how that's supposed to do that? Relook that up, right? Because it just doesn't sound logical. So poor Josh was constantly going, no, that's how it reads. I was like, okay, it just doesn't seem like it's right. It doesn't seem like you could do this, jumping ahead in the air, stuff like that. So, which I feel bad because he spent all the time learning it, and then now I'm just critiquing his learning. But I love that feeling. But also this feeling here, and I'll end on this and let Shay talk. This feeling of when I teach you a game and you have an aha moment is the best feeling in board gaming you will ever get. Like if you were to learn that game ahead of time and say, hey, tomorrow, Dad, brother, we're gonna play this game. I've got a good grip of it, at least to get us going to a point to where we can go. And you took that extra learn time, you would have loved it when they go, oh, and then you go, yeah, they got it. Right?
But my big thing is I'm the one who always has to teach.
That's and I am too. Welcome to Voss Media Board Game Cafe. But there are people here that love to teach as well. So what you do is you find a one of those that every once in a while it's not on your shoulders, and it could be one that you're just. I'm going to be honest. I was a little intimidated with Inventions.
The boy heavy.
I was a little, and that's the first game in
like a little
as long as
boy when you sit it on your lap.
The first game in a very long time I can remember that I was a little intimidated by, just because I watched a little information, but it was enough for me to go, ooh. I got to learn this, and I got to teach this, and I got to open this and demo this. Man, and it was kind of one of those. And with everything else going on with the business, with growth, with the TCG tonight, stuff like that, I just didn't have the time or effort to sit down and do it. So a godsend of Josh coming along and going, I actually hit him up and was like, hey, when do you want to play that? Because I knew he would take the time to learn it. He would be my guy because he's that guy. And so I think I agree with what you're saying. It's hard to always be that guy, but maybe give them some easier ones that you don't have to. I had to teach you Coffee Rush. You weren't that guy that night, right? It was kind of nice to just sit back and chill and
there was that
and just feel like, oh, I know some stupid knowledge while Dion's trying to teach us a game.
No, it wasn't while you're teaching. It was while you were trying to figure out your play.
I was trying to play and move. Yeah, you were irritating. But it was nice to be able to have that because there was no pressure on you. All you had to do was sit back and play the game the way you were taught.
And I think for me, and because I've been teaching games more and more, like for my family, I am the game person.
Yeah.
So I've always been one that usually teaches the game. And I think it can be tiresome sometimes to do it. So I agree with you, especially when if you try to bust out any game and it has something that's so thick. That's why I haven't played a lot of Lacerda. I'm not gonna bust out Lacerda. Like I'm like I keep
See, but your benefit is that I've played majority of them, so I can bust them out for you, teach you, and play those.
Right.
So you would have the benefit of getting introduced to that. And the same with you. I mean, one of the reasons I hired you for the shop is because I go, man, I don't want to play this stupid party game, and you're like, give it here,
just give it to me,
give it to Shay. Shay will learn the stupid party game.
According to Goliath Games, that is the biggest growth category.
Well,
it really is.
I understand that, and I do sell a crap ton of them. I'm just not a party game guy.
Which is totally fine.
But I do have some fun sometimes, and so it's nice to have people like Shay that goes, "Oh, let me take this."
And I will.
Yeah.
But I guess to my point, it was. I know that it will be more intimidating if I would bust out like what you did, a game that I didn't know or didn't watch a video for or didn't like pre-game it, to do a bigger game. Like I could probably bust out, like if I didn't know how to play Splendor, I know how to play Splendor now. But if we were just like, this is a fun game like Splendor, we can do it. I think there's a time and place.
Well, if it says longer than like 60 minutes on the box, you probably should do some prep.
So a little prep, which is the nature of the game. Because if you were going to say, make fun of those simpleton games, you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to do that class. You're gonna have to do take notes. Like literally, like that's how I learned a lot of the games in the beginning. Like because I just took notes. I had a whole thing, Google Docs. I can pull it up right now if I need to, of different games.
No, I'm kidding. Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. But I mean, you know what you're getting into when you're buying these heavy ass games. Like you know exactly,
and they fit what I enjoy in a game. I like it. It's just the bigger topic here is just the fatigue of having to learn all these big crunchy games and
well,
how
I'm sure
they
a lot
can
of people
really
that listen
slow
to
you down.
listen to our channel are probably the gamers. They're the guys that they're the groups that will go, oh, have you heard of this? Let me show it to you, and they're the showers and stuff, which is good. I think in order to relieve that pressure, though, and I'm not beating up on you, but I think is give some easier games to your brother. Let him teach you Project L, or let him teach you Bandito. Something silly, fun, chilled.
I did think that after about hour 4.5, I was like, I wish I had Bandito right now.
I bet you did.
Like, man, that game was very easy. I mean, it was very frustrating.
Some games you don't play you don't learn and figure out at 6 p.m.
Well, see, and I tell you what I do miss. Because I'm always the guy that teaches, I always have to do the background research. Very few times do I get to pop a game on the table and learn it together with everybody at the table. We do unboxing Thursdays, but we don't pick heavy games. We pick something simple that we can pop out and play. And even then we'll do some prep and watch a video on it.
Definitely.
But I've enjoyed unboxing Thursdays more than workshop Wednesdays here at the shop, because I have to do prep and I have to read the book and make sure, how did that work again? Oh, let me look at that. And I don't have to do that for Thursdays. Thursdays I can just sit here and go, let's figure it out. Together. And I miss that. And that's awesome that you were able to do that. I don't know if that one I would want to tackle, but it's cool that you're able to do so.
I would tackle it if it was not at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
that's a you play an appetizer.
Well, even that one game you brought by, like what that hockey game,
Trick Shot.
Yeah, it did not seem like it should be as difficult as it was, but we were struggling with some of the rules, and whether it was a reading or understanding of the rules. And I play a lot of games, so for me I was like, I don't know, that doesn't seem right or logical. Let me look that up. And I enjoyed trying to figure that out with you, but I also, due to my time constraints, I wish you would have said, hey, I'm going to bring this by tomorrow. I could have watched a video and been way ahead on it, or at least downloaded the PDF, which I love, by the way, that companies do that, where I can go on and download a PDF of it and read it, and allow me to read the rules a little bit and be more comfortable.
So I realized that we mistitled this segment. This is not tabletop topics. This is really what is a good pun to say this? This is table inventions. As in, this is our interventions for you, Matt.
Interventions. Table interventions for you, Matt.
For you.
I like this segment. I like the fact. We did beat up on you a little bit because you brought up the topic, but I mean, I like the.
No, I like segment.
This is something that's, I mean, there's a lot of people that are watching, I'm sure, or listening that feels they always have to be the guy.
Right.
And it's frustrating sometimes to introduce your group, but you know you're the one that has to, and it burns you out. I have a customer right now that feels that. Josh, who taught us, like he's at the point where he was hoping that Inventions brought him back into the fold of board gaming, but he's enjoying Star Wars more right now,
which is fair.
Which is okay to do. It's just he doesn't have to teach it. He doesn't have to learn it. He just kind of pops it out and plays it, and it kind of. It releases that stress of having to know all the rules and play it correctly. Right. But I mean, how many times do we play a game and call it an asterisk game? I mean, due to rules that we misunderstood.
I think that goes back to the bigger point is like, I think in a good game group, you have to have people who kind of share the workload.
Yeah.
Because,
maybe.
Because it does, like I said, in my group, and we don't play nearly as much as I wish or hope that we do, but, we try, because my shelf of shame or shelf of opportunity.
Thank you.
Is so bountiful. It is one of those where I have that itch to want to keep trying these new games because, it's like we keep saying, oh, let's pick one game and play it month after month until we get tired and say we don't want to play anymore. And I totally get it. But then the ADD kicks in and it's like, yeah, but what about that one? What about that one? I've been sitting there looking at that one. I want to play that one. Look at that. Well, and there's too many shinies, which is the problem. And that's really the bigger problem.
And my problem with a group like that is I want to be that guy. I want to know the rules.
Well, I'll let you know when we get back together.
And some of the games you have to play multiple times to fully understand. But that's why I don't like games like, hate me if you will, Root. I don't like games like Cloud Spire. I don't like games like that because I have to know everybody's everything at the table. I don't like Wormspan because I have to know every card in the deck to make sure it's being played correctly. That's just who I am. And so if I'm not teaching it and understanding
but you like
it.
Force Shuffle and Force Shuffle, you got to know stuff
I disagree with Force Shuffle. Force Shuffle, you know what everything does. There's a whole deck of cards that explains what every card does, right? So you can learn. There are things the first time we played it that popped up, which that's all learning on Boxing Thursday. But I have to know, like Root is asymmetrical. I have to know everything that this guy can do, and the game's not made for that. The game is made for like learn everything you can do, play the game, bump into stuff, realize you bumped into stuff. When you play it again, find new stuff to bump into, right? Like, and I understand people really enjoy that. I'm not that guy. And I'm just not that guy.
And I think a big thing is like, I feel this when it comes to like tabletop RPGs a lot. Like, I think that's where the burn for me comes to with rule setting, with trying to figure out this big rules.
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn the entire world.
Because you have to learn the world.
Kind of, but don't tabletop RPGs, isn't that more like you creating it? Like
no, but it's the mechanics you got to know.
Yeah.
And then, because every game is going to be like, I can play a game that does the Power by Apocalypse and I can get around with it.
I would say there's like 4 or 5 main ones that they use.
But then there's a whole bunch of other games. Like because even though you do the Power by the Apocalypse, doesn't mean it's going to do it the exact same way. Like Avatar is way different than Monster Hearts 2.
Okay.
And different from Worldwide Wrestling, which is also the same type of mechanics. And then that's just that. Then you got games like I am excited, but I am also tired by Walking Dead because I know Alien. But I had to learn Alien. Alien was a different system than that, and so that really happens when you for the RPG space.
Well, especially
when you have to try to learn all these games.
Well, especially the respect of like you're creating the world for the people at the table. Like you can't even rely on a board and the pre-existing art and stuff.
You have to be good
game.
Visually enough to
you
create
have to
that
describe. So
theater of the mind.
Yeah. So even down to how can they move in this world? What can they interact with in this world? Like how can I direct this? Like.
And a good rule book.
Lot of burden.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it is the creative person that is the DMing the game. Because it's not, I mean, that's why you could play with different DMs Dungeons and Dragons and have 2 completely different areas of the world that you're playing in because the DM has done such a great job of creating that for you with his creative mind. Now, there are rules and regulations to go around it, but there's a lot of them that will use that same 5th edition rule set and just create a whole nother, whatever it may be, and this is 5th edition rules, right? So I agree with what you're saying, but I also understand that, I mean, we're kind of getting off track, but I agree with everything.
I think that could be a great future table topic is, how do you play a RPG with a bad DM?
Oh God,
So-
that's a really good topic. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a topic. That's a shame.
It happens
So-
though. It happens a lot.
It does happen a lot.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up there for this week. Again, gentlemen, Dion, Shay, great to see you guys again. Great to get the podcast going again. So with that, of course, we'll mention again Draco Games. Thank you for the sponsorship this month. And if you haven't played games like Dodo's, Riding Dinos, definitely make sure you check that game
Dodo's Riding Dinos Dash.
I want to see what's the
That's
difference
the new
between
one.
Dash.
Yeah. We get to see what the new one is this Thursday with that one. So we're looking forward to playing
or
Dodo's.
last Thursday, depending on when this airs.
Yeah,
So,
well,
so
It's
with,
happening.
With that said, of course, thank you again to Voss for hosting us, and you out there for taking the time to listen to and hopefully enjoying the content. Again, remember, please like, subscribe, leave comments below. Tell us what you like, you don't like, the topics of today. Let us know what you thought about those and your opinions, so we can share with those and engage with you in the community. So, with that said, everybody, never forget the champions never stop playing.
Yeah, all that I got, I give it everything. They lost the plot, they think I'm menacing. They wanna talk, but I ain't settling. Circle is tight, feeling like wedding rings. Whole lot of glow